Hello everyone, and welcome back to Anastasia Goth Scientist. Going to try and make another quick little video today. Today you are just going to be kind of just seeing my hands and hearing me talk. I promise this will not be the norm. I do plan on making videos and you will actually see my face and whatnot. But we're going to do another snake video today, and we're actually going to talk about, or I'm going to, talk about how snakes and why snakes shed. It's a frequent question that I get, and everyone knows snakes about shedding. And my other snake, we'll get to him in a second, he actually shed last night, so we're going to go over that and everything. So, but first of all, everyone say hello, Nebula. She's peeking out her nose there. She actually knows today is feeding day, so they seem to know the schedule, and she also knows if I'm more active out here in my little reptile room that she is probably going to be fed. So the video is not going to be about Nebula today, but a lot of people like her, so and I guess she's just gonna go. She's like, come get me when food is ready. So, but everyone say hello, and also a very special welcome to Ray, who is our newest member. Just like the other two snakes, Ray here is a rescue. We got her about a week ago. I got a call from someone who was looking to get rid of a lizard. So she has now joined our little band of misfits here. And she's been doing pretty good. So relatively good order. She is a little bit on the heavier side, but we'll go over her with a, I would like to do a profile on each one of my animals and rescues that we have here. But now, today, we're actually going to talk about Zuko. Zuko here, and we're going to say hi to him in a second. He is a corn snake, and just like the others, as I said, rescues. And as you see, he actually shed last night, which is really good. We do want snakes shedding is a good indication of health and how they are doing. So, the reason snakes shed is because, like all animals, they do need to shed their skin and repair any damage in their skin and basically the wear and tear of the skin, because essentially scales are skin. So they need to shed our skin. Every animal sheds, so it's very, very important that all animals do it. In fact, we do it too, with dust and stuff you usually see around your house. Is usually what that's made out of, and we shed such tiny pieces that you can't normally see it with the naked eye unless it accumulates. Reptiles are different. Everyone knows reptiles will shed in one big piece, or with lizards, you know, multiple big pieces. So snake shedding is a very common thing, and we're going to check out that skin first in a second. But how snakes shed is very interesting. And I'm just going to draw right here on the glass. If you guys like this format, let me know, or if you don't, I'll come up with something different. But we have the snake's body here. I'm not an artist, so this is not going to be very good. So we have the snake's body here. You know, the head's going to be, you know, down over here, and then the tail over here. And then we have the, you know, belly scales right here. I'm not going to go fully detailed. So we have the snake here. Now, how snakes shed, and lizards work to the same way to most extent, is that we have the skin here and the scales, and actually what a snake will do will grow a layer of skin underneath the current one. It will grow that, and it'll grow and nurture and everything, and then this top layer up here actually dies. So it'll die, while the second set of skin underneath is regenerating. So the top layer dies. And then normally in animals, this is when, you know, it would start to flake off and everything, but snakes do it a little bit differently, and lizards to some extent. And that the bottom layer of skin, the new layer, will actually secrete basically like an oil. Compositionally very similar to sweat. And it gets this top layer nice and loose and goose up there. Now, when the bottom layer, the old layer of skin dies, that's when it turns like an opaque. And everyone, or most people will have noticed snakes when they're in shed become a very opaque, kind of pale color, like almost like ghostly white. And next time one of these guys is in shed, I would definitely like to show that to you. If their pattern stays the same, Nebula will be next here. So this is when it becomes all opaque and off-colored and everything. When the old layer of skin secretes this oil, it actually gets nice, and that old layer of skin gets nice and loose, and then finally it'll actually peel off. It'll start on their rostrum scale, which is the scale on the very tippy tip of their nose. I just gave Nebula a mustache there. So that scale will actually split. She's actually being a very good participant today. So it splits, and then the skin will just peel back, just like that. And then they'll usually rub up against something, you know, rough and coarse to get it caught on something. As you can see, Zuko used the stick here, and then a little bit of this stuff. Now, Zuko is very important, and this is a very important skin, because Zuko, like I said, he was a rescue, and he was, although captive bred, he was actually out in the wild for some time, and he didn't know how to survive on his own. Luckily, a good Samaritan called me, and I came and rescued him, which is why he will not be released. If I do any capture re-releases in the future, I will let everyone know, and probably do a recording of them. But Zuko here was dehydrated. Now, like I said with the, they'll secrete that oil, that sweat, similar stuff. If they're dehydrated or malnourished, they won't secrete enough of it, or the composition of it will not be as good as it needs to be, so it'll come off in large pieces. Which is why sheds are actually really good for captive animals, that we can tell the health of these animals. And the fact that his shed is this complete, this is probably the most complete shed Zuko has ever had, but even still it did break off in pieces. It's kind of difficult to nurse animals, particularly reptiles, particularly snakes, back to health. So the fact that he has this nice big, you know, couple pieces here is very, very important. It shows that he's actually making a very good recovery. Now, I'm going to have to open his tank, and then we'll go inside, but I'm going to use some little editing stuff, and so I'm going to open it because it's kind of difficult to open one-handed. So, yes, let me open that tank, and we'll go in there and say hi to him. Alright, so we've got his tank open now, and always when handling reptiles or keeping reptiles, you want to keep an eye on them, and I know he's in there right now, so we're just going to kind of sneak over here and grab this here. Now, if you've never felt snake skin before, it is very, dry, almost feels like tissue paper. And when they first shed it, it will be wet, but it very quickly dries. Now, when snakes, also what's really good about the health is we want to make sure that the tip of the tail is there too, because that can actually break off circulation, because obviously this skin is dead now, which is why the snakes need to shed it. So it can be dangerous for snakes in long term if they are not shedding properly. This dead skin no longer stretches like it should and how its live skin should. So parts like the tip of the tail are very important because it will no longer stretch and no longer grow with the animal. So it'll actually eventually cut off circulation to that part of the body, and in worst cases, it'll actually break off and they can lose a few vertebrae that way. So it's very important. We're going to reach back here, see if we can grab, keeping an eye on him. He hasn't got coming out just yet. So I'm going to grab the headpiece here, and this is also very important. Obviously, the neck part, especially when they're eating, like I said, won't stretch. And of course, everyone knows snakes eat large prey, at least relative to body size. So they need their neck to stretch to swallow that. If this piece here, if it does not come off, that skin doesn't stretch. And can you imagine, swallowing a watermelon while wearing a choker? Probably not a good idea. I do not advise that. So, but also snakes do not have eyelids, and they actually have a modified scale over their eye, and we'll see if we can get this to focus here. So they actually have a modified scale over their eye to help protect it. So because that is a scale, it's very important that those eye scales need to be there. You can kind of see the shine there of that one, and the other one's there too. These are very important because If those are not removed, if those do not come off, the animal can basically go blind. When they get in shed, basically when that top layer of skin dies, as I was talking about, and they become all opaque, they essentially are blind. Because that modified scale over their eyes goes opaque, and they are essentially blind. This is why it's not usually advised to handle any snakes who are in shed. They tend to get very agitated because they can't see you. So this is actually looking like a very, very good shed. I would have loved it in one piece here. As you can see, we have the head and eye scales over here, and then it connects here. But other than it just breaking off in two pieces, I am very, very proud of him. This is a good shed. This is the best shed he has ever had, which really tells me that he is making a very nice recovery and adjusting to being rescued very well. So we're going to take that out for now, and then we're actually going to say hello to Zuko today, and everyone be sure to say hello in the comments, because Zuko does not have ears, because he's a snake. There we go, and look how gorgeous he is. So he's always a very... Oh, look, he's got a nice little healthy poop over there, too. Poop is very also important. So, they're always very gorgeous. Snakes, I find them extra, extra beautiful when they have first shed. So, touch him here. As I said, he's a rescue, so he's very skittish, but he's actually getting much better. And when I first rescued him, he actually would not let me hold him barehanded like this. I'd have to, wear a glove, use my snake hook, and now he's able to do that. So kind of get him around there. So everyone say hello, Zuko, and congratulations on your very mostly complete shed. Ray, what you doing? Where you going? But Zuko here, so everyone congratulate him on his very good shed and how proud of him I am and you are. Be sure to type it in the chat because, or the comments, because he doesn't have ears, so he cannot hear it. So we need to make sure he reads it. Where are you going? Where are you going? This is difficult doing it one-handed. So... So, that is basically a good overview of how snakes shed. And now he is hungry, so we will be feeding him today. If you've seen any of my dirty kitchen behind Zuko's tank there, please ignore it. It's clean, it's just cluttered. Anyways, yes, so everyone be sure to leave a like and tell Zuko hi in the comments. And if you have any other questions about shedding or snakes in general, please leave them in the comments, and I will, look at it for making it a future video. So thank you, everyone, and I will see you guys later.